You guys ever wonder who the baddest man in the East was? No, it's not Kim Jong-un. It's no other than the Genghis Khan. So let me tell you about him. But first, welcome back to Carson Explains. This is the 4th installment where I explain historical events quickly for you guys, and thank you guys for 40 subscribers. Let's begin. As China was becoming more developed in the 12th century, there was a piece of land nearby that was a complete wasteland, and it was known as the Barbarian Wilderness. It held a lot of hostile tribes, so what China did to fend off invaders was to build a wall, and this is what we all know as the Great Wall of China. But there would be one man that would threaten China the most, and that would be a man named Temujin, who would later become Genghis Khan. Temujin was born in this wilderness in 1162, and at this time the Mongols weren't very organized either. They didn't even have a single ruler who led them. It was kind of just a free-for-all at this point. According to a lot of reports, Temujin spent a lot of his younger years alone and was considered a loner. And then by the time he reached 9-10 years old, he had an arranged marriage with a girl from another tribe, and her name was Borte. And around the same time, Temujin's father, a major chief in the Mongol army, was assassinated, and it left a big rift in the family. Temujin had a lot of half-siblings, and one time when they were out fishing, Temujin caught a fish. When he pulled it up, his sibling took the fish from him. Without a second thought, Temujin drew an arrow back and killed his step-sibling. This was the first time that Temujin showed his ruthlessness, and we'll see it a lot more. At the age of 15, Temujin was given the leadership role in his family. He had proven to everyone around him that he was capable enough. But like I said before, the Mongols weren't very organized. Other nearby Mongol tribes did not appreciate Temujin becoming the leader, so they went and kidnapped him and his wife. According to the legend, Temujin ran away from the tent that he was being held in. He ran down to the river, and after a while of not being found, he went back to the tent where he was originally held captive. There, he blackmails the guy who was supposed to be watching him originally, and says that if he doesn't help him escape, he'll tell the whole tribe that he took a bribe to let him go. This right here showed how quick thinking that Temujin was even at a younger age. Even though he got free, his wife Borte was still being held captive. Temujin knew he had to get his wife back. He did this by going out and allying with other tribes in the region. He gave them gifts for alliance in return. Temujin got revenge on the tribe that took him and his wife by wiping them out. The only problem now was that his wife Borte was pregnant, and to this day nobody knows if it was Temujin's child or someone from the tribe that kidnapped him. Now back in with his people again, Temujin becomes friend with a man named Jamuka. They combine their tribes and become best of friends. They spent almost all their time together and went around and conquered new lands, but that would come to a halt in 1185. Temujin and Jamuka disagreed on where to stop when it came to capturing land. Jamuka was satisfied with what they had. Meanwhile, Temujin was not done. Temujin decided to leave Jamuka behind, and this split their friendship for good. Little did everyone know, this would be the turning point where Temujin becomes one of the greatest conquerors of all time. Jamuka, not very happy with Temujin leaving him behind, does a sneak attack on Temujin's tribe. Jamuka kills about 70 of Temujin's men, making him very upset. He vowed that it would be the last time that he lost a fight. So after losing that battle with Jamuka, Temujin knew it was time to train his forces. It was said that Temujin's Mongol tribe were trained to travel about 70 miles per day on horses. This was unheard of at the time because the average was around 11 miles. So with a trained cavalry, Temujin attacks Jamuka again. It took 3 battles, but eventually Temujin was able to defeat the tribe, but Jamuka ran north to the Naiman tribe. Hearing this, Genghis ran 80,000 cavalrymen and destroyed the Naiman people, but once again Jamuka escaped with a few of his people. But this is where the story gets crazy. But once Temujin got close to Jamuka's people, they turned on him, giving him up to Temujin. But Temujin, being the man of honor he wasn't happy with the lack of loyalty from Jamuka's people. He knew that he didn't want people like that being on his side, so he slaughtered all of Jamuka's people. Even though Jamuka has been against Temujin for all this time, Temujin still had a soft spot for Jamuka. He told him that he would free him of all his sins if he would just come back and be friends again. But Jamuka said he would rather die. So that's exactly what he did. Apparently, Temujin wasn't able to watch this. This was a rare time when he showed empathy towards an enemy. Continuing on with his military campaigns after this, it is said that he was shot in the neck with an arrow, but he did survive. And by 1206, Temujin conquered enough land. The Mongol people decided that for the first time in a long time, they would have one supreme ruler, and that would be Temujin. And at this time, he also got his name, Genghis Khan, which they believe stood for universal ruler. So now that Temujin took care of all the wilderness, he had his eyes set on China. In 1207, Genghis sent 2 men on a peace mission to the Jin Dynasty. The Jin were suspicious and ended up killing the Mongolian men. When he found out about this, Genghis was furious. So instead of retaliating quickly, what he did is he went on a 3-day meditation fast to think about what to do next. When he came out of the meditation fast, he said that God told him to take out the Jin Dynasty. But there was still one thing in the way, and that would be the Great Wall of China, which if you think about it really isn't that big of an obstacle because all he had to do was run 40,000 people into one part of the wall and he broke through pretty easily. And by 1214, Genghis made it to the capital of the Jin Dynasty, modern day Beijing. and only a year later, the city fell. Now Genghis had a major foothold in the region, but he immediately returned home because he wasn't done quite yet. By 1217, Genghis wants to expand even more westward, this being more in the modern-day Stan region, so he did the same thing he did with the Jin Dynasty. He sent a couple peace troops to make peace, and what do you know happened again? The dynasty to the west killed Genghis Khan's troops. So, if history tells you anything, what do you think happened next? Genghis went out west with his massive army and took out the western ruler easily. He had now created his new empire, which stretched all the way from the Yellow Sea to the Caspian Sea. And around this time too, Genghis chose his third son, Ogedei Khan, as his successor. He did this most likely due to his calm demeanor and would often be a peacemaker for family disagreements. And in 1226, Genghis rode on his last military campaign. On his way there, he fell off his horse, which was the sign that he was becoming ill. And just 1 year later, at the age of 62, Genghis Khan passes away. And to this day, nobody actually knows where Genghis Khan is buried. This was due to the Mongol custom of hiding their dead so that enemies could not pull up their bodies. But all said and done, through all his expeditions, it said that Genghis Khan was responsible for more than 40 million deaths. But at the same time, since he had so many wives over his expeditions, it is said that around 8% of all Asians are descendants of Genghis Khan. But not everyone was a fan of him, even up to the 1900s. During Soviet times, the mention of the ruler was banned. It wasn't until Mongolia gained its independence in the 90s that Genghis Khan was restored into curriculums. And I'll probably make a video on Genghis's successor as well, Ogedei Khan. He took Genghis Khan's empire to the next level. But that's all for today. Let me know what you think about Genghis Khan, and I'll see you next week. Bye.